Good evening and welcome. This is Whole and Beautiful. I am Angela Oliphanmt, your host, and I am so glad that you have joined me for another night of information, revelation, and change. It's going to be another awesome night tonight, guys. I am so glad that you have joined me tonight and that you are allowing me to be a part of your Friday evening. I know a lot of people, like I said before, a lot of people are out with their games because their kids are playing football and it's football season, and I get it, But I am so excited that I'm able to share with you. So if you don't catch the full episode tonight, you can always catch it on tomorrow at 4 p.m. and go back in and listen. And you can go back in and listen at your leisure, not even at 4. You can go back and listen some other time when you have that downtime to listen. Good evening, Linda. How you doing this evening? Um, I'm so glad that you have joined me on tonight. I'm glad to see that you are watching and that you're out there. It's another beautiful Friday, guys. It is a fantabulous Friday, and I'm so glad that it is a great Friday. Um, I am just going to jump right in and just share some things with you all on tonight. Like I said, I have so many different things that are going on right now where I'm looking to get some more couples on. I think I got a few couples that I'm going to be getting on soon. And then I am looking for some other people who I want to interview and just talk to them about some different things. I want to bring some information to you because the whole point is to bring you information so that you can get a revelation in the midst of that, so that it will bring about a change in your life. That's what I want to do. I want a whole and beautiful nation of people who are ready for change, who are ready to move forward, who are ready and that they realize that whole and beautiful is their journey. I want you to see that it can be your journey. It does not just have to be your destination. So tonight, I just wanted to share some quick things with you all, and then we're going to be out of here. And I pray that what is shared on tonight is going to help you. It's going to help propel you to where you need to be, and to give you that, I don't know, that excitement, that ignite. It will ignite you, set you on fire so that you can just go forward and be the beautiful person that you are. Tonight, I just want to talk to you about a simple word. Last week, we talked about being aware, being aware of yourself and being aware of where you are, where you want to go, all of that, making yourself aware of who you are so you can move forward. This time, I want to talk to you about transition. Transition, that is a big word. And transition can happen at any given time. And when it does happen, we have to embrace it. We need to learn to begin to embrace transition. What is transition? It is the process. It is a period of changing from one state or condition to another. That means that I am making a major change here, that things are going to be different. And I am going through that transition, and I have to allow myself to go through the process. Sometimes we don't want to go through that process, but we have to go through the process to get to the other side of it. When we look at like even like a butterfly, even in my logo, if you look at it up at the top of the screen over there, in the middle it has that butterfly, and that butterfly had to go through a transition. It was a caterpillar at one point, but it had to go through a transition. And in that transition, it didn't have all the other butterflies around it. And that was like, oh, you go, girl, or oh, you go, boy, you got it. It wasn't like it had an audience for the transition. For the transition, it has a cocoon, it is on the inside, and it is transitioning, it is changing, it is going through the process, that caterpillar going through that process to become the butterfly. And sometimes that's what happens with us throughout our lives. We go through transition where you don't have the applause. You don't have anybody that's pushing you, that's encouraging you and say, hey, girl, you got it. You can move forward. You can do what you need to do. No, you're going through the transition. And it seems like that you are shut off from everybody. It seems like, man, nobody knows what I'm actually going through. nobody cares about what I'm going through. We get to that point where nobody cares and you're upset. Just know it's a process. It is a process, and you're going to come out better on the other side of it. You are going to come out so much better. You're going to come out into that beautiful butterfly, but you got to go through the process. You got to allow yourself to begin to change. I know that in my life right now, a lot is happening where I am starting to change. Even when you're getting older, you start to change, and some things that you thought was going to go one way, it's not going that way, it's going the opposite way. And you're like, wait a minute. And then you have to allow that process to come, and you have to allow yourself to be pliable so that you can go through the process and come out much more beautiful on the other side. Because I think about it like the caterpillar, like I was just telling you. The caterpillar was at one point just crawling around on the ground. It can only go so far because it's just crawling around on the ground. But once it climbs up into that tree or gets underneath that leaf and makes that cocoon, it's on the inside. And once it breaks forth out of there and it comes out as that beautiful butterfly, it can go everywhere. It can just fly around, and go and see so many different things. It's like your vision changes when you allow the process to happen. Because at one point your vision was low. It was down here. It was ground level. But now that you're that beautiful butterfly, you're seeing higher. You're looking at things in a different perspective. You see things totally different than when you did when you was a caterpillar. It opens your eyes. Your vision is changing. And yeah, Linda, it is. Transition is tough. It is tough. It is not an easy place. It is never an easy place. Never. And sometimes we think that things should go the way that we want them to. Sometimes we have it all mapped out. And me, I'm a planner. I like to plan. I like to have everything mapped out. Like to have everything like this is going to happen, that's going to happen. We got this over here, step by step by step. But it doesn't happen that way. It doesn't. So I have to allow myself to change. And I feel the change already. It's a change in the seasons. Think about it, guys. I mean, fall is coming on in here. We having that summer thing where summer comes and try to take back over again, but fall, like, no, we coming on in. So even with the changing of the seasons, it's a change in your life. And we have to transition. We have to learn how to bend with with the change and move with the wave, because if you don't move with it and you don't ride it and you don't move with it, that will knock you over. That make you go under. You have to learn how to ride through it, even in the real hard places, even when you're walking through what seems like the valley of death. It seems like everything is dying. And when we look outside, you're going to begin to see how the leaves are going to start to turn colors. They're going to start falling off the trees. The trees look like they're dead as you're going through the fall and you're going and getting ready to go into the winter. Look like they're dead and that nothing is going on, but they're transitioning because they're going to bud and they're going to flourish when spring comes back around. And in this time of transition, what I'm learning to do in this process is to embrace it and not fight it. It is hard, but I must embrace it and not fight it. Why? Because I want the outcome. I don't want the process to end because I just stopped it in the middle and don't want to come out of it. I don't want to stay in the cocoon forever. Because if I stay in the cocoon forever and never break free up out of it, I die in it. I don't want to die in the process. It's a very delicate time. It's a tough time, but it is a very delicate time. Thank you, Victoria, for joining. It is a very difficult time. Sometimes when you are in transition, it is like it's difficult, but then at the same time, it is like so delicate. It's delicate and difficult at the same time. But you have to allow yourself to be molded, just like God wants to mold us. Like we talk about the clay and sitting on that potter's wheel, and he's molding that clay, and as that pot is going and he's molding it, changing it around. We have to allow ourselves to go through the process and know that when we go through the process, we're going to come out on the other side of it, and we are going to be more beautiful. We're going to be more whole than what we were when we first went into the process. We're going to be able to look at things a little bit different. We're going to be able to shine a little bit more. We're going to be able to get through this other thing a little bit easier because we allowed ourselves to walk through the process. In the process, it feels like a crushing. But even for the oil to flow out of an olive, what has to happen? It has to be crushed. For that oil to flow, the oil was not going to flow if the olive just sitting there and looking pretty. It has to be crushed in order to get the juice, the wine from the grapes. They got to be crushed, and it's almost like it's just a crushing process, and you're transitioning from one place to the next place. And I am encouraging you to embrace the transition, to embrace it, to be all in it. And don't let those moments and stuff pass you by, the transitional period. Don't let it just pass you by. Embrace it. Embrace the change. Just like holding on with everything that's in you and embracing it. And take in every moment. Take in every change that you see. Everything that you see switching and changing. Just go ahead and embrace it and don't fight it. Because when you fight it, you end up killing yourself sometimes in the process. It's just like somebody trying to rescue somebody who has went into the water. They're going under and they're fighting you and you're trying to save them, but they're fighting you. If they would just embrace the transition of you taking me out of this water, and not panic in the midst of it, then I'm going to come out and I'm going to be okay. But if I fight you, I can drown in the process. I'm going to tell y'all a story. And it may be funny to some people. It's funny to me now. It wasn't funny then, though. It wasn't funny when it happened. But it's funny now. And what made me think about it is I saw my grandson do the same thing. Oh, my goodness. And I was like, oh. But anyway, guys, because it was a water story. I went to a water park. We were at the water park. We having fun, we just out there having fun. So I decide with my sons that I'm gonna get on this water slide. Little did I know my sons don't weigh that much. They skinny. I weigh a little bit more. I'm a little bit more heftier than my sons are. So they go down the slide and I'm like, yay, look at them, awesome. Yeah, get in the water, they go back up, they're gonna go again. I get on the little mat, right? I sit down on the mat. I push myself off and I come flying because the more you weigh, the faster you're gonna go. So if you don't know, you know tonight. But I got on that slide. I came flying down. I mean, I was hitting them curves and everything. Came and I hit the water. Went under the water, but it wasn't like really seriously deep. Went under the water. And I was like, what did I do this for? Because I can't swim, So I started panicking. I'm just hitting the water and screaming. And I'm like, because I wanted somebody to help me, right? What I heard in my heart, in my spirit, man, what I heard was stand up. I was like, stand up. In the midst of everything that was going on, all I heard was stand up. Y'all, I stood up. And the water was even hitting me, like it hit me maybe like up in here somewhere, but it wasn't that deep. It wasn't that deep. And I was like, oh my goodness. And then I began to look around to see if anybody, yeah, some days are better than others. I said, did anybody see me fighting this water when all I had to do was stand up? I had to embrace, just embrace the place that you're in. Embrace it. Embrace it. It's funny to me now. That day it was not a funny thing. But I was like, I heard, just stand up. And I did. That's what we have to do, even in the middle of transition. We got to listen for the voice of God. We got to listen, because there's some things he will tell us to do. There's some things that we may not do. The Holy Spirit, he will speak things to us to do. And there are some things that he will say, no, don't do this. Or no, don't go here. Or no, don't do that. Stay right here. I need you right here. I need you to do this. Because we have to just embrace where we are on the way to where we're going. And if you fight the transition and you're fighting the process, and you don't want you don't want the process, you don't want to change, and then you don't grow, and you don't be the best you that you can be. You don't be that best person the best like possible you will not come forth, all because you didn't want to embrace the transition. We transition so many different ways. There's a transition when you're getting older in age. There's a transition when you don't have kids, and when you do have kids, that's a transition. That's a whole nother world. There's a transition when you're getting older and your parents are still with you, and your parents are getting older, and then you're having to look at them and say, oh, they're older. And now you're trying to see, okay, how do I work with this person? Because this person is not the 30-year-old or the 40-year-old that I dealt with when I was a teenager or whenever. Now this person is well over that, and they're older, and now I got to deal with them a totally different way. That's a transition. When you're dealing with your kids, and your kids are at home and they're little, and you're doing, what you do with them as little people, and you're working with them, and you got them on a schedule, and you're doing all your stuff with them. That's awesome. But when they transition into adulthood, and now you're looking at them and you're like, okay, they're adults now. How do I have this relationship? That's another transition. And when you're transitioning your own self, when you are not seeing things the way that you used to see them, or you having a different view on something, or you're changing, and you look at yourself and you notice, oh man, I used to think this and I don't think that anymore. And God is working on my heart in this area, and I got to work on this over here, and I got to do this. Even exercise, guys, is a transition. And because you want the results like now, I want to look like that right there, right now. It's not going to happen unless you do something. The transitioning of not exercising at all to going to the point where you're exercising now, going to the point where you're walking and you're doing what you need. You're starting to eat different. You're starting to drink more water. You're changing your diet because your body is changing. It's not like that, that 20-year-old that could eat what she wanted to and it just burned right off. No, now you're the 50-year-old that they say, oh, no, I better not touch that right there, because that'd be a hard night for me if I ate that. You have to know you. Like we talked about last week, you have to be aware of you, but you got to embrace the transition. It's going to happen. Things are going to happen, and it's going to cause you to change. And that's when it causes you to change, there's an area of growth. You grow. And that's what we want to do. We want to keep growing. We don't want to get to the point where we just like shrivel up and just die. We want to keep the growth going. And what happens with a lot of plants during this time, a lot of plants are being pruned. A lot of plants are lying dormant. It looked like nothing is taking place. Why? Because a lot of stuff is taking place on the inside. A lot of stuff is taking place up underneath the ground that people don't see. But when your spring come around for you, you'll see it, because you'll see your growth. You'll see, it was well worth going through what I felt like was a dark area, because in that dark area, I began to grow. In that dark area, things were being taken care of on the inside of me, in my heart, because that's where the change has to be. That's where the major transition is. It's in our hearts, because God wants to give us a new heart, a new outlook, a newness is what he wants to put in our hearts and in our minds and in our thoughts. But we have to embrace it. And a lot of times we fight it because we're so used to the old. We're so used to what he did do like 15, 20, 30 years ago. Oh, I remember when God did that. Oh, I remember when God, did this. I remember when the Holy Spirit, ministered that. And it's good to look at those things, and it's good to be encouraged by those things, but we can't live in those things. We can't live in what he did 20 years ago. We can't live there. And then we can't think so far over in the future where it's like, oh, I can't wait until this happened, and I can't wait till that happened. And you're so over there that you can't even be present. You need to be present where you are. You need to be present. Not just saying that you don't have goals. Yes, have goals. Yes, I know where that God is taking me here. I know that I'm going to get a chance to do this, that, and the other. And yes, I'm setting my goals. And yes, I'm setting these things for me to attain and me to reach. But I will live in my present. I'm going to embrace today. I'm going to embrace this moment. I'm going to be present in the moment so I don't lose it. So I can transition and be the person he wants me to be. Because we are forever changing. We are forever changing. In the word of God, it tells us, and I think it's in 1 Peter, but I am not good with chapter verse, but I know it's in the word. Y'all can look it up. It says to add to your faith. And it gives you all these different things to add to it. It's telling us we're not going to stay in one place. You have a continuous growth. You're not going to be in that one place. It's good for you to accept Christ. It's good for you to start serving him. But you're not going to stay like 20 years from now, you're not going to be in that same place. You should have added to. You should have transitioned. You should have changed. You should continually be growing. It's just like planting a seed for a tree. You see some of these trees around here and you look at them and you're like, oh my God, that tree been there forever. And it's just getting taller. It's getting stronger. The roots are going even more deep. They're running deeper, and it's still growing after all those years. Trees that are thousands of years old, trees that just grow and grow and grow. And you're like, oh my goodness. Yes. Because they continue. It's like in the word, being a tree, be like trees that are planted by the rivers of living water. Rivers of living water. And when I think about that, I thought about the juniper tree. The juniper tree is where Elisha went because he was discouraged. He was upset. Transition. He was in transition. He running from something he shouldn't have been running from. Running from Jezebel and her crew, because they say, oh, we're going to kill you. We're going to do these things to you. So, and he got upset and he went and sat up under this juniper tree. But y'all know something? I went and looked up the juniper tree just to see what it was. And it's a tree that represents strength. It lives in all kinds of weather. It can weather the storm, Juniper trees can just live on and on and on, and they're strong, and sturdy, and it got all this strength. And I was like, the very thing that he went and laid up under, if he had paid attention, it was prophesying to him. It was telling him, even the trees, even the earth will prophesy to us. Even the earth will talk to us. The tree is even telling you, hey, you got this. You're going to be okay. And we have to realize that even in the midst of our transitions, sometimes that thing in the midst of your transition is telling you you're going to be okay. You're going to be all right. It's going to be okay. Just embrace the transition and move with it. Just ride the wave with it, Get on there and just ride with it. Don't fight it. Yes, I'm going to make this transition. Yes, I want to be changed. Yes, I want to become that beautiful butterfly, but it's going to take some time and it's going to take a process. And it may take some struggle in there, because if you see the inside, like the outside of the cocoon, sometimes when the caterpillar is on the inside of it, there's like a struggle going on. There's movement going on. Because why? It's transitioning and it's changing. And it's time for us to transition and to change and to walk out the process. That's what we, and we need to be, like I said, we need to be all in with the process. All in with the process. Why? Because it's going to make us better. It's going to make us great. And I wanted to read this just to y'all real quick. It's a book that I'm reading that's called All In, and it's by Mark Batterson. Just started reading it, but it has some good points in it. And the one thing that I wanted to share was that he was saying that the world has yet to see what God will do with and for and through and in by the man who is fully and wholly consecrated to him. If you're all in with God, if you're all in with yourself, if you're all into this transition, you will be amazed at what God will do for you as you come out of it, when you come out on the other side. If I'm going to be all in, it's like whatever it takes. Miranda Curtis, she has a song out, it's all in. Whatever it takes, I'm all in. If it takes this transition, I'm all in. And to be all in, you got to be all in. It's all or nothing. It's like people tell people now, go hard or go home. It's get in there and do what needs to be done. Because the work that you're going to do in this transition will propel you to where you want to be and where you want it to go. But you have to go through the transition in order to get there. You got to go through that process. There's no way around it. There's no way around the process. You got to go through it. You can't go around it, because if you try to go around it, you're going to meet back up with it a little bit down the road. You're going to meet back up with that same transition, because there's something that's going to happen in that transition, like I told you before, that's going to take you to where you need to be. And in order to get where I need to be and to be able to stay there when I get there, I need this transition. I need it. I need it for my growth. I need it to show me just how strong I am. I need it so that I can depend on God a little bit more and not depend on what I want to do and how I want things to go and how I want things to be. It's not about what I want. I belong to him. So whatever he wants is what I need to want. Whatever he desires is what I need to desire. And as I'm transitioning to be more Christ-like and more of wanting to be more like him, I got to go through this transition. I got to embrace it, even though it may hurt, even though it may be a struggle, even though it may seem like I'm in this deep darkness and I'm here. And I'm not saying like you're in a depression. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying walk around, you deep, dark, and depressed. You need to go talk to somebody if that is the issue. But I'm saying that sometimes we feel in those places that, I don't like this. I don't like this transition. It seems like things are dark, but I know God got me. I know that I'm transitioning. I know that I'm changing. I know that he wants to remove some things, and he wants to allow those things to die out so that the new things can come forth. And I'm going to allow him to do what he needs to do in me. I'm going to allow myself to walk through the transition. I'm going to allow myself this time to process. Allow it. Stop fighting it. Stop fighting the process. Stop fighting the process. It's so many things that we want, and because we don't get it when we want it, we just like, forget it, you know. And me and my sister talked about this a while ago. Delayed gratification. They talked about it on When Life Speaks. Sometimes things are not going to happen overnight. And one thing that I tell people sometimes is like, because even with a church service, we think that we're going to walk in this church service. We've been dealing with whatever this thing that we've been dealing with, let's say like 40 years or 35 years or 20 years. And we expect somebody to get us out in 2 minutes. It's not going to happen. There's a process. Some things you're going to walk through the process. Can we have a miracle? Oh, yes, we can, because we serve a miracle working God, and he can perform a miracle in your life where all of that stuff is gone like that. But for the most part, you got to do something, honey. You're going to have to walk through a transition. It's not going to stop overnight. It's not going to be like an overnight process. It's not going to be like a 2 minute, you know what, anoint me, tap me on my head and let me go, and ooh, everything changed. Everybody, I don't know why we think that is going to happen. Sometimes it's like you've been taught that way, that boom, it's going to happen. Every time I ask, boom, it's going to happen. And maybe when you're a child in Christ, and maybe when you just start serving him, because when you have to think about a child when they're growing up, when they're little, and they're saying mama or dada, and they want this, they want that, they want the other. The parent like, boom, got it, boom, got it, boom, got it. They just own it, giving it to their little babies and stuff. But as that child gets older, you're like, oh no, you can wait. No, you can wait. You can wait till the weekend, or you can wait till later. We're not going to do this right now. We'll do it next week, but we're not going to do it right now. Then they have to learn how to wait on certain things to come about. And it's the same way with us as we're growing. We have to realize that our transitions are not going to be overnight all the time. It's not going to be like, oh, I'm going through this. Oh, tomorrow I'm out and I'm good. No, it's going to take some time. It's going to take a little time, but you're going to be okay. You're going to be all right. You're going to be okay. So just go ahead and walk out the process. Go ahead and enjoy the fact that, you know what? I must be strong enough to take this. I must have the strength that I need to walk through this, because this would have never came at me if I could not overcome. Because God wouldn't have put it here. He wouldn't have allowed it to happen if it was going to take me out. This thing will not take me out. I will allow the process to happen. I will allow the breaking to happen. Why? Because I'm going to break forth. I'm going to come forth. I'm going to move to my next level. I'm going to be who I was created to be. I'm going to do everything that I was created to do. I'm going to be all in. All in. It's like all or nothing. All or nothing, guys. You got to be all in. If you get a chance, when we finish with this broadcast, pull up Miranda Curtis, pull up her song. I'm all in. I love it. I play it over and over and over again. Why? Because it's like whatever it takes, and when that hits you in your spirit, in your heart, whatever it takes, I'm all in. It's like, God, what do I need to do? I need to do what I need to do in order to get where I need to go. And if this process is going to help me be who I need to be, why not walk it out? Why not embrace it? I'm not going to fight it anymore. I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to live it out. I'm going to walk it out. I'm going to be who I need to be. And in order sometimes for that change to happen, because some people don't. I know a lot of people, they don't like change. They don't like change at all. They don't want things to change. They want them to remain the same. But I cannot tell you something, things are going to change. We change every single day, but because we see ourselves every day, we don't even recognize the change in us each and every day. There are changes that are happening constantly all day long. And we are one of the people, or one of the things that are changing every day. We change, we grow, we mature. And like I said, sometimes your thought process starts to change because the way you thought at 20, you may not be thinking at 30. You definitely may not be thinking the same way at 50. If we saw, you know, a 15-year-old walking around with a bottle, we was like, what in the world wrong with you? Something got to be wrong, because you walking around here with a bottle still. That's all you do is suck a bottle and drink milk. Something wrong. You should be eating grown people food by now. We see that, but when we see ourselves and we see ourselves going through these transitions, it's like, oh, we don't want to. We don't. No, 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 no. You're mature enough to take it. You're mature enough to embrace it. And like I said before, it may hurt, it may be difficult, but it's a delicate place too. And we need to handle it with care. And we need to walk it out. Don't break it. Don't break the cycle and say, you know what? I'm done with this. I ain't changing. No, don't get stubborn and be like, I ain't changing. I ain't doing this. I quit. No, whatever it takes, I'm all in. God, you have my attention. Because whatever it takes, I'm all in. I'm going to do what I need to do. And sometimes we need to get out of that same routine. That could be your transition. You do the same thing at the same time, every day, all the time. And God is saying to change it up. Don't keep doing it that same way. Okay, it may be your spiritual routine. It may be something that has grown you, but He may be transitioning you where He's saying, okay, switch this up and do this a little bit different. It's not that you're not spending that time with Him. You're going to spend that time, but now I want you to do this. Or now I want you to pray this way. Or now I want you to do this way. And when He brings it to us, or when it comes to us to change up something, in accordance to His word now, but to change up something, then we need to change. Because you never know what that change in that routine will do to change things up for you. Even with us going, some of us go to the store at the same time every week, or we go to this particular place every day, same time, all the time. And sometimes God will change it up because He wants you to run into somebody different. He wants you to meet up with somebody different. He wants you to do something just a little bit different than what you did before. And sometimes we get so, I would say, complacent. It's like, this is the way I pray. This is the way I read my Bible. This is the way I study. This is how I do my day. It's like dun 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 dun, just consistent like that, which is a good thing. But sometimes it's like to change up that beat. Instead of dun 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 all the time, it's like dun 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 dun. Then you can go back to dun dun dun. It's just, sometimes the rhythm is going to change. Sometimes things are going to happen, and we have to just embrace it and say, okay, I'm going to be all right. This is a transition, but I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be all right. I'm going to grow. I'm going to mature. I'm going to turn into this beautiful, beautiful person that God desired me to be. I am whole. I am beautiful. But He's making me more whole and more beautiful in my transition. I'm going to come out, as we used to sing the song, as pure gold. I'm going to come out looking different, acting different, being different. But it's a good different, because I allowed God to mold me, shape me. I allowed myself just to say, you know what? Whatever it takes, I'm all in. I'm all in. A song, and I'm gonna end with this song tonight, but a song that we sung like this past Sunday at church. Somebody pulled this song out from way back when, and it just made me think. And the song is, I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back, no turning back. What does that mean? I'm all in. I'm all in. I'm not going to turn back. I'm not going to go back to old ways. I'm not going to be so far in my future that I can't enjoy my present. But I'm not going to be so far in my past that I can't enjoy my present. I'm going to allow my transition to happen. I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to realize that it's good for me to transition. It's good for me to change. It's good for me to walk through the process. And whatever it takes, I'm all in. Okay, guys, this weekend, be all in. Be all in. If you're going to be in a service this weekend at church, be all into it, okay? If you're going to walk this walk with Christ, be all in. If you're going to spend that time with your friends, be all in when you're in that moment. Be all in with them. If you're going to be with family this weekend, be all in with them. Don't just let your body be there and your head way off somewhere else. Be all in and all in the moment and embrace the transition. Okay? All right, guys, that is all I have for y'all tonight. Y'all have the most amazing weekend. Remember, I will be right back here again next week at 7 p.m. on Friday. And then if you missed any part of this and you want to go back and listen, come on back tomorrow at 4 o'clock. And we'll be right back here where you can hear it again. Or you can just tune in anytime. It's right there on Facebook, guys. Just click on it, listen to it, and don't listen to it just for yourself. Share with somebody else. Let them know that they can listen to this and you're going to be encouraged, you're going to grow, you're going to get information, you're going to get revelation, and you're going to get change. To my whole and beautiful nation and everybody out there, y'all have the most amazing weekend. And until we meet again next week, Friday at 7 p.m., I'm Angela Oliphanmt, allowing you to see, to hear, and to know that whole and beautiful is not just your destination, it is most definitely your journey. Have a good night, guys. Love you much. Good night.